you came in 2019 to RJC. How did you establish yourself? I understand there's a lengthy search process, and after the shul went through a public experience with their last rabbi. How did you establish yourself, and how did you avail yourself of the platform of the Drasha to deal with certain issues?
That's a very good question. I think the relationship between, inserting yourself in a community effectively and your drasha, for the purposes of this conversation, is a really interesting question. Um, I think it's a combination. Number one, your drasha is not a replacement for building relationships with people. You can't just be funny from the pulpit and people think you're a warm person. You have to integrate. I would say that I integrated with some people well and with other people's not so well, and with some people very quickly and some people very slowly. I had my good moments and my bad moments. I wouldn't describe it as the perfect transition, nor do I think it was seamless in any way. And I also felt but from a drasha standpoint or from the pulpit, I think there were a couple of things. Number one is I wanted to convey as much professionalism as possible. I tried to come into Shabbos 100% prepared. We started putting drasha titles in the bulletin on Thursday, so people should know that the rabbi is actively thinking about what's important to say, and if there's something important that the rabbi wants to talk about, you should know in advance to clear your schedule, so to speak, to be available. Now, of course, that's not always the case. Sometimes the drasha is just, why did the Ramban love this parsha so much? And that's the title. Sometimes you put in a title and then you change your mind on Thursday afternoon. That's also okay. But it was a sentiment that said, this is a serious institution and this is a serious community, and there's a rabbi here who values you as an audience and is putting in hard work to prepare for you. And I know that even though my drushos weren't necessarily perfect or perfect for the audience at the beginning, I think people understood that I took the responsibility very seriously, and that feedback was clear. And they respected it, even when they said, that was great, but you should do something different, which I did get some of that feedback. I think knowing that I was working hard was meaningful to them in ways maybe that they didn't even expect, and I thought it was effective in that regard. A little bit, I think people get to know you, especially when they don't know you yet. People really do get to know you through your drushos, which changes over time because the more they know you outside of shul, the less your drasha tells them about you. But I think people did get to meet me through my drushos. I tell a lot of personal stories. I feel very comfortable sharing anecdotes from my own life. Those are the spaces in drushos where I don't feel like I need to write, because I know I can tell those stories effectively. I am a little bit self-deprecating, maybe at times a little too much. People have said that to me, but I feel like there's a vulnerability in it and there's a humility in it, and people love to connect with you over silly things about your own experience, which are shared or different. And I try to do as much of that as possible.